The Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am the Father.
Just to get the Cowboys two good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right, welcome everyone. You're looking live at Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, and so I'm the host DJ. I tell you what, and I'm joined with my dad, Cowboy Joe 64, and we back with another one. It's a Sunday here, and it's a Sunday. It's not a lot going on in the NFL right now. Not a lot of news, but um, we did have some breaking news. We did want to discuss a few things. So as you can see, so it's our name has been Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, but we decided to change it early in the game as we could to Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk, and that's just because of when people recognize or when people give us shout outs and things like that, it's much easier for people to just type in or just notice who everyone is talking about when they say, hey, the father and son cowboy duo. Everyone, that's how everyone recognizes us. I mean, even when I'm out in public, my friends, they always say, when they're explaining the channel, they always say, yo, yeah, he's the one. He got the father and son cowboy podcast. So we just thought it would be a cool thing to go ahead and change the name now to Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk. And it kind of just shouts out to all the father and son duos out there, all the fathers that they have connections with their son due to sports and due to the Cowboys. Like me and my dad, the crux, or really a crux of a lot of our relationship is about the Cowboys. I mean, we talk about the Cowboys every day, and we've done that probably since I was probably about I don't know, 11 years old. And we've done that every single day, 24/7. And so we just figured that we'll make a play on that and change that. And then also, what we want to talk about today is the art of the running back usage in the NFL, because the running back usage has changed tremendously over the years. The Cowboys, they've kind of been slow to kind of get with the tide, but we'll get into that. You want to say what's up to the people and kind of delve off into that a little bit?
So, what's up to the people? Sunday night. Appreciate you guys joining. Good to see you, Hoodie. Appreciate you checking in. And so, yeah, we're gonna talk about some of the breaking news, last few days, things that have happened. Talk about what we're doing with our show. We're making a couple of changes, just to kind of relaunch the show, including the name change. So we'll talk about that. And then this week we're gonna be working on some stuff, even some more updates to, what you did with the name change, some different things we're gonna be doing. So we'll really just be chatting with you guys this week on that. So I'm kind of got a little extra time on my hands, so we can kind of do some updates to the show. So appreciate it. And yeah, I was gonna ask you. So, and I had heard this, and I don't think we talked about it, but I don't know if you heard this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I want to give credit where credit is due. I can't remember if I heard this on, was it on Mark Holmes or was it on Law? They said that Dak was the one that bailed out Cavante, where it set the whole thing up. I thought that was pretty interesting that Dak, he's getting all this criticism, but he stepped up to do that. Again, it's just speculation that he did, so I don't know if you had heard that.
I haven't heard that, but I'm gonna look it up now and see if I can put any validity to it.
Yeah, that was reported on one of the guys. I wish I had, made note of it.
So I mean, you can, for what it's worth, you can take AI for what it's worth, but
Mm-hmm.
it says on AI overview, it says multiple reports indicate that Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is the person that paid bail for Cavante Turpin after his arrest on July 5th, 2025.
Okay, yeah, that's. So just what do you think about that?
I mean, like I said, and I'm biased really when it comes to Dak because I'm just not a Dak hater. I just don't feel like, that Dak is not the one. I like Dak. I like Dak for his good and his bad, but I just think Dak is a hell of a person too. I like his personality. That I just like Dak as a human. And so and he's about that life. That's the type of stuff that he do, you know what I mean? And that's why it's like I said, Dak is the engine on the team and they all respect him. They all love him. I mean, he's a man's man, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't supposed to be in this position that he's in. He got drafted in the fourth round. He wasn't supposed to be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. If it wasn't for Tony Romo getting hurt in the preseason, and then if it wasn't for Kellen Moore breaking his arm during the preseason, we wouldn't even know who Dak was, or we would know who he was, but he wouldn't be on our team. So the fact that he came in and he did all of that and he's rose to the occasion. I mean, he's always in the conversation for, I don't know, you can say top 10. I'm gonna say top 5 because everyone always does this thing to me to where it's unfair to the quarterbacks and it's unfair to the team, really, how everyone always says like, oh, this person or that person is not good because uh of a win or a loss. Like for instance, like they'll say like they'll say Dak played Jalen Hurts in week 16. Dak didn't play with Jalen Hurts in week 16. Or like Dak Dak retired Dak retired uh um Tom Brady when they played him in the playoffs. Dak did not retire Tom Brady. Tom Brady, as a matter of fact, Dak had nothing to do with Tom Brady retiring. So it's just like that narrative, like, oh, just because he's a quarterback and he's a quarterback, it's it's him against him, and it's just like that's just not accurate. Because what happens if like this quarterback over here plays great, but their defense plays horrible, and then that quarterback over there plays horrible, but their defense plays great and they win. So the horrible quarterback that he wins, and now you're saying that he beat Dak because I mean he beat the other one because because his team won. That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. It's just like I always ask people, if we had Patrick Mahomes on our team for the last 10 years, will we have any championships? I don't think so. I don't think we would
yeah,
because I mean how would we? And then on top of that,
yeah,
it's just like I mean, so if you have Patrick Mahomes, but you have Jerry and Steven having 2 or 3 years where they just don't do anything in free agency. They don't do anything in the draft. They drafting people like Mozzie and Schoon and doing all this stuff. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes would be a champion or three-time champion? He would not be because it's not
yeah.
all about the quarterback.
It's not, and that part is not fair. That's never really going to change. Hey, and I didn't want to speak out of turn. So there was hoodie that uh broke that news, and I can't remember hoodie if you was on Law's channel or on Mark Holmes' channel. So I didn't want to misspeak, but that was you. So appreciate that.
You
So
said
yeah, I
my
just
guy Ernie. Yeah, I like my guy. I like Ernie the Cowboys fan. Yeah, I like Ernie the Cowboys fan. Do you
who
follow
is Ernie?
Ernie?
I'm not familiar with Ernie, and I don't listen to him. Is he? I gotta check him out.
I
So
be on him. I see him on. I think I see
I
him
think
on
he
Twitter.
he
What
did. But
law?
I think
Okay.
he was on Law. Yeah, he was on Law's show. So, but yeah, I think it just says a lot about Dak, and despite his criticism, the fact that that's gonna go a long way with him and his teammates. And one of the reasons that they didn't go back to Romo during that time was they really just felt like the guys in the locker room. Dak had taken over the locker room, and you can argue whether he should have, Romo should have went back in or not. But yeah, that's kind of where Dak came along. And it was one other thing I was gonna mention to you that we can talk about. We're gonna get into the running back thing that you mentioned. So before we break, I want to talk about, so two things happened this week that I took note of. So Mike Fisher in one of his shows, again, I don't remember which day it was, he basically said that Schoonmaker was a third tight end, and he was saying that they can't even trade Schoonmaker at this point, so he's not really sure what's going to happen there. And then the other kind of breaking news was Greg Ellis' interview on DLS Sports Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
His interview was really interesting, and we can try to chop it up later. But he basically said that Mozzie is playing out of position. They're going to be asking Mozzie to rush upfield. That's not the type of player that he is. That's not what he was really drafted for. And then at the end of that broadcast, he said they should trade Mozzie. But again, you can't trade Mozzie. There isn't like a market for Mozzie. So I said all that to say this. That 23 draft, you got major people out here in the marketplace, content creators talking about the first and second round pick of that draft. And we just keeping it a buck. I just think if they just have a fair competition. Oh, and then one last thing Clarence Hill said, and we're going to get into your running backs thing. Clarence Hill said, and I've been kind of thinking this, and we can talk about this later on this week. He believes probably what's going to end up happening at this point, they're going to end up playing 2-3 techniques. The one technique thing, if Mozzie doesn't pan out, they may not try to bring in another one technique or try to trade for one. The three technique room is so crowded, they might think they got two people that can just, you can play two threes. And I've been kind of thinking that because a couple of the guys that they have, uh, they're just going to have to play. And
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have a true one technique. And that's just so Dallas Cowboys, they will absolutely do it. Now, other teams won't do that, but they will. So there's just something to kind of put on the fire for later.
Well, okay, so it's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. Right there. So, I mean, the whole. I can go. The whole 2-3 techniques. I mean, now from my understanding, so the one text is like the big boys, and then
Yeah.
the three tech is like the edge rushers, right?
No,
So,
the three tech is the defensive tackle. It's Osa. He's the
oh, okay,
prototype three tech. The guy
right.
that the run, he plays, he rushed the passer. He obviously stops the run, but he's just the guy that's just hard to deal with. The
So
the
who
one
else?
tech, the
Who else
one
would it be?
tech is huh?
The one tech is what, Mozzie?
The one tech is the guy that basically, plugs the gap. Your strongest, biggest, strongest guy. And depending on the defense, just it depends. And then you got some people that they play the one tech in the A gap, and then some people play the one tech over the center. But that's usually your biggest, strongest guy. And that guy is not concerned about getting upfield. He's just concerned with nobody coming through that gap.
So,
What Greg Ellis has said, and what I've been saying for the longest, is they're going to be asking him to run upfield, and that's not what he does.
JVB boy. So yes, it's still gen to gen. You can still type it in and search for gen to gen because that's still the handle and everything. But going forward, we're gonna morph into father and son Cowboys and sports talks. So it's fast cast instead of gen to gen cast.